Hey everybody, welcome to Doc Sports Happy Hour Show. I'm your master of ceremonies, Tony George. We got a great program for you here today. This is the show for guys and gals who love to bet sports and bet, and my guest today has revolutionized the casino hosting business here in Las Vegas. Caters to the rich and famous and to the infamous. The author, Well Hunt in the Desert, casino superhost Steve Cyr. Steve,
wow,
buddy, welcome.
I feel like I owe you money.
Well, you do. As I always say, that I like to pump up my guests, kind of like the guy who crawled out of his grave on Judgment Day and read the epitaph on his tombstone and thought to himself, either I'm in the wrong hole or somebody's a real good liar. So that's the intro, baby. But nonetheless,
anyway, cool. Thank you for having me.
You bet. We love having you here, and we're going to talk about what you do for a living. Your book here, but when I read your bio at stevecyr.com, the one thing that stood out to me was we're both Midwestern boys.
Yeah.
Your origins fall in Salina, Kansas.
I know. Born and raised in Salina.
Yeah, and your dad ran a Howard Johnson's Kansas boy to Vegas. Explain that to me.
Well, the plan was I ended up at UNLV because I got rejected from every other hotel school. UNLV said, bring your 1.9 GPA from K-State down. I was on academic probation. That's not funny. It's kind of funny. And the goal was to get a degree in hotel administration from UNLV and go back and run my dad's Howard Johnson Motel. And I have to really thank Michael Gahn, who now owns the South Point. And then I did an internship my senior year at the Barbary Coast, if you remember. That was on the corner. Now it's called the Cromwell. And I remember lying on those catwalks, Tony, and a guy came up. I was in a valet parker, I was in housekeeping, I was in night audit, I screwed that up. For a whole semester, you're working 4 or 5 days a week in different jobs, getting college credits. So I'm in surveillance, and I'm on the catwalks. Back then, we didn't have the eye in the sky, and there were microphones down. We could hear the people talking, and a guy came up and bought in for $3,500 cash, and to me that was like $1 million. And he started rolling the dice, and he was up about 60,000. And Leo Lewis and Michael Gahn were there, and I was kind of freaking out. And this guy came up in a suit, and his name was Kevin. He's like, "No, BS, no, you're gonna stay here tonight. Oh, I'm taking you to Michael's for a steak dinner." I'm like, "Mr. Gahn, who's that? What does Kevin do?" "That's my casino host. His job is to keep him here and get that 60,000 back." And I go, "I want to do what he does." He called after my internship. I started literally 2 days after I graduated at Caesar's Palace as a cash host. If you bought in for $200, I was to introduce myself, because we had beepers then, so we'd get beep, a guy bought in for 200. "Hi, I'm Steve, and I'd like to buy you the Caesar's buffet tomorrow," and get him back in. That's how I started.
So,
but I love Kansas. I love that I grew up there.
Right.
Did
you graduate from UNLV?
I did.
So you graduated from UNLV.
I was on academic probation for 3 years. I graduated with a 2.3, and that's how my book now is required reading at Cornell. We'll talk about that later, but that's how I start my lecture.
So when you first graduated from college,
right,
and you were in Las Vegas, you were working as an intern at these casinos. Your first official job, full-time, not in college, was where and what were you doing?
Caesar's Palace, cash host.
Yeah.
In the dice pit, we just looked for cash buy-ins. And back then, this was before Mirage opened, 86, 87. Right. And if you bought in for $200, I was to cut into you, introduce myself, where are you staying, get that information back to my boss, get your player card, and invite you back for the buffet the next day. Because everybody would come in to see the show or come over from the Flamingo, and I was to hustle you, because I had no players. Players are power. I had zero. I didn't know any gamblers.
Yeah.
That's how I got my first $1 million player on Graveyard. Everybody went home at midnight. I stayed till 4 a.m., and the guy came over and bought in for a couple $100,000 one night, and I got him.
So the metamorphosis from those days to being you've been on Pierce Morgan, there's been features about you.
Thanks.
Book about you, all this, that, and the other. But the metamorphosis of that, at what point in time when you were at Caesar, you go, I want to step this up a notch? Did you have a mentor? Did you just,
Good question.
Yeah.
And yes. Well, I got fired after about 8 months. A new, back then, vice president would come in from Atlantic City. He did, I don't need cash hosts, fired all of us. Never even met the guy that fired me. I went back a second time, then the next time I deserved to get fired because I told my boss where to go. But when I got fired, I had met a host, and I went over to the Desert Inn and worked in VIP services. His name was Johnny Oakes. And he said, I'm going to go to the Hilton. And he said, I'd like you to come there. But he said, what's that other stuff you do? And on weekends, I'm a telemarketer by trade. That's how I helped get through college. I was selling vitamins on the phone for $599 for a year and get $100. I still pitch today. It's a long story. And so he said, do you think you could do that stuff and call our inactive customers? And I go, I'd love to. This is before telemarketing was cool. And I set up on my off days at the Hilton a little telemarketing room. 4 guys just pitching. Tony, Steve Cyr, hey, I know you haven't been here in a couple years. When are you going to be in town again? That was our goal. When are you going to be in town? Great, I'd love to buy you dinner at Benihana. Bring you over, buy you dinner, make you feel obligated, get you to play. Boom. First quarter, we won like 200 and some thousand in new and inactive business. My heyday at the Hilton for a decade, I was up to 17 people in that phone room. All they were doing was calling. When the executives would come in, guys making 6 figures, hey, we called these 300 people today. These 12 are going to be in town this weekend. Then my crew was to go get them, go off property, steal them. I'm currently barred from a few high limits for over the years for stealing players. It's competition. It's not anything illegal about it, but I'm kind of, half the hosts in town love me, half of them hate me. There's about 700. And that got my reputation out, and I was winning a lot of money. And then kept getting fired over the years, and then in '99, I got my junket rep license. So my official license, I'm a junket rep. A junket is an old term that means any group of 8 or more that comes from out of town, and that's changed a lot in the years. But so I love it. I still get excited every time I'm in a casino, and this is my 35th year being a casino host.
Yeah, and you have this book here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're with Steve Cyr here. We're going to take a brief pause for this important word from our sponsor.
If your business is using satellite or cable to entertain your customers, and you want to capture your customers' attention, play our television content with your own commercials. Our targeted content can align with your business, and you can play your own commercials, giving your customers a customized experience. We combine your commercials, custom messaging, and network-style content. Everything you want and nothing you don't. Market products and services. Eliminate competitor commercials at the same cost as premium cable. Managed service means no hassle and no additional resources. Screen content management is the right solution for you. What are you waiting for? Screen content management. Contact us today.
Back here with Steve Cyr on the Doc Sports Happy Hour Show. Be sure and check out stevecyr.com. You've got some videos on there.
Yeah, CYR.
Yeah.
It sounds like S, but it's C.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Okay.
It's under you in the graphics, by the way.
Right.
We got you there. Some interesting pictures of you with some celebrities over there, and some great things. I really, in your bio alone over there, great website. So be sure and get over to stevecyr.com. So we talked about your first job. You moved over to the Westgate. Basically, there could be some people watching this right now that go, actually, what the hell is it that a casino host does? And maybe what is a day in the life like?
Good questions.
Yeah.
So I'm still amazed, you need, and when people hear casino host, Tony, I think they think VIP services, stuff like that, which is fine, but we're not here just to make your dinner reservation, your show reservations. At my level, you want somebody, even if you're at the $5,000 or $10,000 level to the $1 million level, I'm almost like an agent. Okay, I help negotiate, even a guy that brings 10 or 15 grand. Do you want the dealer hitting soft 17 or not? Do you want to be able to split aces 4 times? Not to get too technical, but if I get 2 8s, can I split them and then double down after a split? All those little things, a host or a junket rep helps negotiate for you. If I lose $50,000, do I get a discount? Will they pay my airfare up front? Nothing worse than coming to town. Remember, you don't have to lose to get comped. You either got to give me a shot at some money or you get your ass kicked. But you might say, oh, I'm not a big player. Well, you buy in for $500, you bet $100 a hand, you bet 4 or 5 hours there at $100 a hand. Theoretically, you should have lost a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
You can still get comped. So I'm here, and in this jurisdiction, my bonus, and I earn off of your theoretical. So I hope you play good. I hope you win, because what happens if you win? You bet more, you play longer, hence Steve makes more money.
Right.
So my business model now is I'm one-stop shopping for the high roller. I represent casinos all over the country. And I love telling the story a long time ago when I told my mom I'm not gonna come back and run the Howard Johnson in Salina. I want to try this casino host thing. She's like, well, Steve, the only other place you can work is New Jersey. I know you hate the snow. So I hope this casino host thing works. And I used to always love my mom and tell her, the only place I can't work now, Utah and Hawaii. I picked an industry and got really lucky. In my career, 46 more states adopted gaming, just like sports betting now is going crazy, and marijuana's going crazy. So anyway, so if you're a gambler, and even if you bring 5 to 10,000 or more, you need a casino host. Make sure you're getting comped appropriately. If it's a dead time, maybe it's a Tuesday, Wednesday. Come in, I'll give you a big suite, because it's just a room. Well, here's what happens, Tony. You go, you buy, you get your slot card, you go play little slots, then you get this flyers, and you think, oh, this is the best I can do, the 2-for-1 buffet or whatever. No, that's giving you the minimal. Get a casino host so you can get the best bang for your buck. You're gonna risk your money, right? You might as well let a guy like me make sure you're getting all the benefits.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you right now, we are going to do a second segment, stevecyr.com. Be sure and get over there. And you have a form over there to fill out, even if you're coming to town, a contact form that people can reach out to you. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the next segment. It is Steve Cyr, super casino host out here in Las Vegas and other places we're going to talk about in our next episode. And be sure and come over and visit us over at DocSports.com. All things sports betting. You got the casinos covered.
Yep.
We got the sports books in the
It's
sports
a good
betting
marriage.
covered at DocSports.com. Thanks for tuning in. Segment 2 with Steve Cyr. Next, right here on Doc Sports Happy Hour Show.